Kapa Hawaiian FM 100.3, 99.1, and online at kaparadio.com. Another edition of the Kapa Cafe. And of course, if you're following us on Facebook, check out the entire interview on our Kapa Facebook. Joining us today, Jazz.
We have Hoku Award winner, Honoka'a boy, Mr. Ryan Hiraoka. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Good to see you, man. Long time, bro.
I know, it's been a while, yeah.
Only via Facebook nowadays.
Yeah, virtual thing.
Right. So what the heck has been happening? Before we get to your single and before we get to your recent Hoku nomination, what's life been like, man, as a quarantine musician? And day job, like, are you still doing your day job? And
yeah, I've been luckily I still get job, so that's good. But as far as music is concerned, I finished my studio, so we got the brand new RSP studio. So we got one full-fledged studio out here in Kona side.
How has it been? So this has given you the opportunity to have the time finally to put all this together.
So my last summer break, what I ended up doing was I was working on this. It's been a project for a while now. I'm finishing up the studio, so I finally had the time to get it done. So I got the studio done, and with the quarantine time, I actually have like another album on deck already.
Nice.
Oh, that's exciting. Now, tell us a little bit about what you do outside of music.
I work with special needs children in the schools, so that's my day job, and then full-time daddy. So,
yeah, how old is baby now?
Oh, he's almost 3. So he's a little monster over here.
Wow, Jazz. Speaking of baby, yeah? I'll be right back. I have to tag out, Jazz. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Well, we got baby duty over here too. And you've since been, how long? You've pretty much been in Hilo for the past 5-10 years or so.
Longer. I mean, yeah, about there. Yeah, I've been actually out in KL, so I live out in Paradise Parkside. I ended up building a house in my studio out here.
Nice. Now, what I've always wondered, many of us who are artists and producers at the same time, either do everything ourselves, and I know you're a musician who could play everything yourself, but do you do everything yourself? Like, do you try to record yourself? Have you taught your kids yet how to, push record and stop? And
yeah, I've been doing everything solo with the exception of drums. I have about a Kamakoa sing come out and help me out every once in a while, who also lives out this side now. So we got the band back together and getting back in the studio together and working on some stuff. So it's nice to have, the roots, the Honoka'a roots still out our side now, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, are you guys, all that crew from Honoka'a, you guys are all about the same age. It's kind of like what is that movie? Not The Breakfast Club, but that other one where they all kind of reunite because they all come from the same school. You guys still like that?
Kind of whoever took the professional route, we all kind of hui together when we do gigs and stuff. But as far as the program is concerned, I think a lot of the alumni stuff has been put on the back burner and kind of giving room for the next generation to come up. Yeah. But as far as like you said, that original hui of musicians that was our age group, we all still jam. Everybody's still doing their thing all over the place.
Yeah, half of them have pretty much been Hoku Award winners.
Well, Kapa is a Grammy Award.
Yeah, I'm just gonna see that Grammy Award winner in there and everything. Now, you have been an experienced streaming musician pre-COVID. So since COVID, has that, because you were doing that already, has that helped you?
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's interesting because it kind of put into the forefront what I've been as a musician trying to promote on my end as far as the music business is that Hawaii has the capability to be a self-sustaining industry, but due to a lot of people who follow me, they know my event sessions every once in a while. But one of the things I've been pretty vocal about is the relationship of all the players in the music industry, whether it's the radio stations, the concert promoters, or the artists themselves, is we have the ability to work together and create a self-sustaining industry like it used to be that way. And then, things happen along the way where, all kind of hakaka, whatever you want to call it, happens along the way between the parties. And we kind of get put in a position where we got to fend for ourselves. So me personally, I felt like I got put in a position where I had to create an alternative avenue for success, because I wasn't getting the same amount of attention, I would say, as some of my peers in the concert vein or, in that promotion side, right? So what I did is I looked into streaming when streaming was one of the first, like the new things on the block as far as how do we promote and how do we get out there and get our music heard. So before even iTunes came about, I was already chasing down these concepts that were similar to iTunes. I remember releasing one of my albums on this website called Island Beats, and it was very similar to what the concept of iTunes was going to become for local music. And then eventually we got the know-how as to how to get on iTunes. And then now it's not even iTunes, it's streaming. So it's just always about pushing that digital realm, because the same way like we talk about locals having to move away, there are local music listeners, Hawaii music listeners abroad and not even, in Hawaii anymore. So the way that they find music is not the conventional, I turn on the radio station and Hawaiian music is playing or local music is playing. They got to go look for it digitally. So if you can be on the forefront of releasing music so that they can find you and find your new music, then it just opens up the genre to a much bigger world than just our islands, yeah?
It's intelligent, it's smart, and it's very innovative. And our monarchy, like if you go back hundreds of years ago, they were very innovative. This is not a new thing, but when innovation comes, they take lead.
Exactly. When you think about like Hawaii historically, and you think about how we had treaties with all these major countries around the world, it's similar in that we knew even back then that even as this little speck in the ocean, we have the ability to be big abroad. And that's kind of the same concept, I think, with our music, whether it's Hawaiian or this island reggae thing we do, that we can use that and just get our music beyond our shores, yeah?
I love it. I love it. Now tell us a little bit about, because I really wanted to talk about this, is about the new music, because when we debuted it this past week, I didn't listen to it prior. So I like, that was the first time I heard it. And I was like, okay, wait. After I listened to it, I was like, wait, you got on a hole. Because I'm still thinking about the first thing he would ask. So tell us about how that came to be.
Okay, so the song How Come, actually, I released it almost a year ago on these digital platforms.
Wow.
And this is why I like the digital world, is that to somebody who's never heard it, it's brand new. Yeah. Whereas when we release it, the conventional way through radio or just iTunes or whatever it is that you release on, that's the release, and then that's when they think it's released. But with the digital realm, it's almost like a slow burn. So as a song picks up steam, it's brand new to people along the way. So it's not like, oh, this song is a year old, so it's old. Like when we used to look at the CD covers and we would look at the back and it would say last year and be like, oh, this song is old already. Like now it gives us where it's brand new, because nobody cares about the date. They care about when they first heard it.
Right.
So with the song, what happened is I released it, and then I sat on it for a while, because I actually released an EP called Relevance, and it was a song featured on that. It was 5 songs that I did on a mini EP of some singles that I did along the way, and then I grouped it together with a few new songs. And then so this was one of the new songs. And so I finally, like, I thought about, I was like, I didn't, it was COVID and everything happening, I never promoted it. I never was able to go out and do like a whole Alaulea or concerts and get the song out where I could play it live. So I finally sat and I do this thing called, I call them RSP sessions, and it's just, that's me singing in the studio along to the track. And I was like, I better do one, because now that I have the studio and the backdrop, I should probably get back into doing those, because it's the same concept with the virtual realm, yeah, is getting our music heard, performing on the digital realm. So when I put it out there, Alex Farnham, a lot of guys know him as a comedian online, and he's the $1 guy. He had a lot of these little virtual skits He did the Aquaman spoof, the Aqua Brada. So he's a very talented, filmography guy. And he hit me up and he's like, hey, I really like this song, and I if you want to do a video for it, like, let me know. So we just exchanged some messages, and then like a week later we got together in Hilo and just shot some scenes. And then we had all our friends make signs that said "How come" and our children, and get them in there, and just some familiar faces. And it was fun. And it's been a while since I got in front of a video camera, and he's just awesome with his edits. So he put this thing together and just gave us a visual of what I was trying to talk about. But the content itself,
I thought was
and just like that, put them online. Back in the day we had OC16 and video shows we could put on, and that's really what I credit my career to, was jumping on the OC16, where people knew what I looked like, and they could put a face to the music, which that's how you get recognized. If you're not in concert, then that's the only other way. So this was kind of a throwback to how I got in the game, was the video. And now with social media, which we really didn't have when I started, it really just blew it up, where I had close to 100,000 views collectively, with all the social media posts where Hungry Hawaiian jumped on it and reshared it for us. So that was a big one. And just, get people to hear the message. And especially now, the message is definitely relatable to a lot of people. Yeah.
Hey, that's like winning one Grammy, getting on Hungry Hawaiian, boo.
I got on there twice.
Yeah, we got on. My brother called me. Hey, I just saw you on Hungry Hawaiian. We're like, we made it. We made it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, and this is what I've been saying, and why I've been such a local activist, I guess, in the music scene when it comes to our music, is that the typical realm of how do you release music and get successful in Hawaii isn't really friendly to a new artist. And I've been in this for 15 years now, coming on. I think you guys was the first show. The Bola Heads was the first show I went on radio. So mahalo to you for that. And it's crazy to think from back then to now, like the realm and the journey I had to go on, and the obstacles along the way to get to here. Where I don't see many new artists coming up the pipe like that. And I want to encourage the industry to allow that to happen for the next guys. Because if I'm an uncle now, you know what I mean? Like, imagine what is the talent behind us? Because I was the new guy, and I haven't really seen too many new guys coming up. And I would love to help, grow that. And if you think about, like, all of us guys that have the capabilities with studios, we're really the only guys that can do it. So I just want to help usher in the new industry and give people a hope that there's other ways. Like, if you cannot get on the conventional way, here's another avenue. Try them this way. And I think social media is the biggest tool right now that helps us get that. Yeah.
Now Hoku Awards are, I guess, virtual this year, yeah?
Yeah, virtual.
I believe Reggae Album of the Year.
Yeah, so this is actually, I believe, my 4th nomination.
Nice.
I won the one in R&B, and this is actually my, I think, 2nd in reggae category. So it's kind of cool to, win, lose or draw. It's just nice to be nominated with the caliber of artist that is in the nomination. Yeah.
So Ryan, if you could say anything, or because I think I'm still stuck on this, not stuck, but encouraged by the upcoming generation. Yeah, the upcoming generation. One thing that I have to say that we witness a lot is some are not as tech savvy as I would think they were with social media.
Right.
Secondly, back in the day, there was a way of giving your music to a radio station appropriately, yeah? And so which is interesting, because I had an experience with a Hawaiian musician who flew from Maui to hand deliver the CD with a goodie bag. And you know what I mean? Like, I would sit with you in the studio, we're going to talk, I'm going to tell you exactly who was on. And today, not the relationship, but the communication piece, to me on my end, doesn't exist with the new generation, because it's, hey, how's it? Maybe you can play my music, and then a Dropbox link. But
Right.
so how do we collectively, I'm speaking not just you, Kako, how do
Yeah.
we encourage this new generation with the new way?
Right. I think, you know, my manao on that subject, and to be real honest, and this is not one station, this is all stations across the board, all major radio stations. I think the fact that a listener can just go to the song they want to hear on a streaming service and bypass radio
Yeah.
only strengthens the argument that we need to give individual DJs a little bit more say to be themselves and create the relationship with not only the artist but with the listeners, because that's what gravitates me as a listener to listen to a show like your guys' show, or you know, that there's a relationship with me as the listener and the DJ. And I think we've gotten to a point where, because of all these outside, you know, influences, whether it's the business or the program directing or however it works, you know, because every station is unique, so we cannot say one thing is the problem. But I think we have to facilitate where the relationship of radio and its listeners is because of the connection more than even the music, because they can get the music by bypassing the radio. So me as a listener, I want to listen to you as a DJ, and what are you going to give me through your playlist or your you know, your manao on your transitions. And that's what keeps me at a certain station. And I think so for artists, they have to realize that connection as well. It's like, why is the radio station going to play you when you have no relationship with the station? And we know, like, over the years, we all build connections and we build relationships. And the whole reason why even this, like, say, this phone call or this Kapa, you know, think we can have this virtual is because there is a relationship. And if I just send you blind a song, no matter if it's good or bad, there is no relationship. So why should you help me in the same light? Why should I give you my music even? It's the give and take of the two, right? And I think, like I was saying, I think Hawaii has the unique platform that we can be a self-sustaining industry because of our aloha, our you know, we like kokua each other. We want to share manao. You know, I think that's where we build and we make better, is that, you know, yeah, we can just stream, but we lose out on the relationship with the artist. And like this, what I always felt the radio was special at was being able to connect the audience with the artists by interviews, by debuting the new song, by getting the little bit behind the scenes story of the song. And that's what streaming lacks. And I think that's why radio is always going to be important, but we have to acknowledge that relationship and nurture it. Yeah.
I love it. Jazz, manao?
No, he's absolutely right. We also have to remember too, keep it quality, people.
Right. Right.
Because you get studio, don't just put out.
Right.
You know
no,
what I mean?
and I think that comes with the overall relationship, right? It's not, we cannot just vent about radio. Oh, they don't play my song. At the same light, we gotta realize when a song is good, that's when you make the gripe. When you have the like this song, for instance, I had the proof in essence to show, like, hey, there is an audience for this song. Why wouldn't you play the song? And you know, and that's where I think a lot of us do get grouchy, because it's like not every radio station does have that same mentality to realize that, hey, this person does deserve to be heard. But because we've, you know, local culture, we're very vocal. So we say something along the way that we maybe never mean at the time. And that can sometimes sabotage the rest of your career because you're too outspoken. And, you know, I think we just have to find a balance of everything, you know, and that's really what makes better. I think this COVID thing really humbled a lot of artists down because they don't have their steady gig. And then they have to realize that certain aspects of the industry is very meaningful to their success. And then the other way around too is that we all kind of vulnerable. So it does set up a tone where we can kind of humble ourselves and realize, okay, time to start over and build a better relationship. Yeah.
I love it. Or, you know, Ryan, how, now the streaming thing, can you tell us how people can follow you, or what is, you know, what is your way? Is it just social media as far as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter? Tell us how we can get your music.
So I release everything mainly on the major platforms. I mean, I release through these distributors that basically get it to everywhere it needs to be online. So you can find it on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, Google Play, Amazon. So it is everywhere. And social media is mainly the main way you're gonna know I dropped a new song. So if you follow my Instagram, my Facebook are my main sources of information, and just seeing what's going on. Sometimes I post sneak peeks of what I'm working on. I know some people are like super secretive of what they're doing, but I like to show people what you think of this, because especially now not having as much people around, it's hard to get in people's ears to test out material along the way of quality control, like Jazz was saying. We want to make sure the music is up to par.
I mean, some of
Not
the
to put out anything, right?
some of the biggest bands, one band like Hiatus Coyote, if you've ever heard of them, these guys have like 30 million followers on a stream because they're letting people in on their like pre-production process,
Right.
letting people get involved. But hey, what do you think of this lyric? Sucks. Okay, you give me one.
Right.
And getting people involved in people want to get the behind the scenes. Yeah, forget being secretive. Yeah.
Right. Well, the thing is I always tell people, like, when people ask me about writing songs, like, how do you write songs? Like, my biggest advice to anybody coming up the pipe, or even that's already there, but like trying to reinvent, is if you're going to write a song, have something to say. Not just say what you think people want to hear, but let people know what you have on your mind. So like this How Come song, for instance, I got a lot of flack from my inner circle of family members that wasn't too stoked on the idea of me calling out things that I thought was in need of being called out. And for a moment, when I first put it out and it didn't get the initial reaction I thought it was gonna get, I was a little, did I cross a line? But then when the right ears heard it and it just went viral, it really showed me that a lot of people do feel that way, but not many people are willing to take the risk creatively on their career, especially to put it out there. Like I learned along the way, especially working with Brother Kiala, from Sonny Rosh. You gotta push the boundary, and you gotta, if we are in a special position to influence not only our listeners but the whole community, because we are the local celebrities, in that sense that we get to influence aspects of our community that the average person doesn't get to, just by our being in the public eye. So if we don't say it, who's gonna say it and actually have an impact on people to change minds, or just collectively say, hey, okay, we gotta address something, that is not right. And I think Mauna Kea was a really big one, because regardless of if you agree or disagree, it just brought it to the attention that, hey, this needs to be talked about, because at the time that a lot of these things were being passed, we just didn't know about it. So, when they say, oh, we had a public hearing or this or that, most of the public didn't know that things occurred. So by the time they found out, they were trying to build them. And, when we did our song Rise Up, for instance, it was our reaction to finding out about all of these things that was happening that we were not aware of. So same thing with How Come. It's like, I just wanted to put out there things that maybe people think about, but never really had the strength to ask openly, was how come? How come this is jam up or that is jam up? And, it's not really throwing anybody under the bus. It's just more so acknowledging that we all kind of see the same thing, right? But nobody is willing to say, hey, how come? Why is these things happening? Why are we letting things that is obviously not good for our community happen without question,
Ryan, I think we got to start a new webinar series with you and do some kind of workshops. I think there's a webinar thing happening here.
Yeah.
You watch. You're going to have your own channel pretty soon.
We're going to make vlog.
There you go. Ryan, thank you. It's always a pleasure talking story. And we're enjoying having the opportunity to play your music on Kapa Hawaiian FM.
Right on. Mahalo for playing. Right on.